Group of young Americans took a giant step toward one gold medal in ice hockey. They astounded the experts by beating the veteran Soviet team 4-3, and they can win America's first gold medal in hockey in more than 20 years if they beat a strong team from Finland tomorrow. In the Soviet Union, there wasn't much flag waving as the game went on. Gordon Josephoff reports.
News of the Soviet hockey defeat came on a day dedicated to victories, military victories, the nation marking the 62nd anniversary of the founding of the Soviet Army and Navy. But there was no celebrating in a Moscow television store as a Saturday morning crowd watched a delayed broadcast of the game from Lake Placid. The game ended at about 4 a.m. Moscow time, and most people out shopping were unaware of the result. The crowd watched quietly as it became apparent that the U.S. team was posing a serious challenge. The Americans are so young, said one man, maybe it's time we changed our forwards. No one paid much attention to a film marking Army and Navy Day being shown on another channel. A woman trying to buy a television set quickly got the message that this was not the time to engage in comparison shopping of models. There was no cheering at the Soviet goals, just a few smiles. When the Americans tied it up at 3-3, some hockey fans left in disgust. One shopper watching the flag-waving crowd at Lake Placid said to a neighbor, Carter must have ordered them to win. As the clock ticked away the final seconds with the U.S. ahead 4-3, there was stunned silence, people not yet fully comprehending the first Soviet Olympic hockey defeat in 12 years. Leonid Ilyich won't be happy, said a man to his wife, referring to Leonid Brezhnev, the nation's #1 hockey fan. The Soviet news agency TASS said Soviet players experienced elements of confusion and a lack of concentration. The Soviet loss could not come at a worse time for Moscow. The last thing it needs now is a defeat of any kind in a confrontation with the United States. Gordon Josephoff, CBS News, Moscow.
Win or lose, athletes have to practice, and that's what the victorious Americans were doing today, trying to be serious about tomorrow, but smiling about last night. Steve Young has that story.
After their stunning performance last night, the storybook American hockey team was out on the ice this afternoon, razzing members who came late for the practice. They were trying to stay psyched up and loose. Mark Johnson, who got the tying goal. Mike Euruzione, who gave the U.S. its 4-3 edge. And goalie Jim Craig, who held the Russians at bay during the longest 10 minutes of his life. They got a standing ovation at a news conference this afternoon. Then questions about the defeat of the Russians and their final game with Finland tomorrow.
I think tomorrow maybe we have a little more pressure than what we think, and we just have to give that other team a little bit more respect than we gave even the Russians because of the fact that we have so much more at stake than we did yesterday.
I think we realize what's in front of us. I feel right now we're all good enough athletes and good enough hockey players to realize that, you know, one win tomorrow is going to give us a dream that very few people in the world can say they had a chance to do, and that's win a gold medal.
At this point in the Winter Olympics, the Russians usually have it all locked up. This time, it's the closest Olympic ice hockey contest in history. If the U.S. beats Finland tomorrow, it will win the gold. If it loses, and the Soviet Union and Sweden tie in their game, there is a slim statistical chance that the U.S. team could wind up without any medal in the four-way round robin. America's newest heroes weren't thinking much about that dark possibility this afternoon, but instead were enjoying their new celebrity. Steve Young, CBS News, Lake Placid, New York.
Going up?